Hello, welcome to session 6 on thermodynamics. This is our last class on thermodynamics, and today we will discuss third law of thermodynamics and we will derive Maxwell's thermodynamic equations. So first let us see what is third law of thermodynamics. Just like we connected zeroth law to the equilibrium in temperature and first law to the energy conservation and second law to the direction in which the heat can flow. Third law is actually an expression of what will happen to the thermal properties of the material when we reduce the temperature to absolute zero. So the statement is like this. This statement or the formulation of the third law is also a result of experimental observations, and it is not a consequence of any derivations. So we can state it like this: the heat capacities of all bodies will tend to zero at absolute zero, and all their internal energies and entropies of all these substances will become equal, and it will approach zero when the temperature reaches absolute zero. Now we will derive Maxwell's thermodynamic equations, Maxwell's thermodynamic relations. They are actually the relations in P, V, T and S, and we will use the concept of U, then enthalpy, Gibbs function and Helmholtz free energy to derive these four equations. So actually, if you refer many textbooks, you will be able to see there are different ways in which we can derive Maxwell's thermodynamic equations, but we will be following the partial differentiation method. And we will assume, for example, when a system undergoes a cyclic change, we are sure that the change in pressure, volume, temperature, entropy and internal energy, all these will be zero if the system is taken back to the initial state, which means a cyclic process. So that means all these quantities are exact differentials. And moreover, U, G, F and H, all these quantities depend on P, V, T and S or U, and therefore we can assume that all these quantities U, G, F and H will also can be represented as exact differentials. So therefore it will be convenient for us to make use of the partial differentiation technique. So I'm not going to explain each of the steps. I will just show you all the steps involved in one derivation. Then I will just show you the equations with which you will have to start to derive the rest of the three equations, and you can follow exactly the same manner and you will be able to arrive at all the four equations. So first, to derive the first equation, we are considering the first law of thermodynamics, which is the energy conservation law, and we know the equation dQ is equal to du plus dW. Change in or the heat absorbed is equal to change in internal energy and the work done. So from which we will be able to write down du is equal to dQ minus dW. So du is one of these thermodynamic variables which we referred to earlier as a perfect differential. So we will retain u as such, but the rest of the quantities q and w, we would like to express that in terms of p, v, t, s or u. So we know that work done is equal to p dv, and the heat absorbed can be written in terms of temperature and entropy as TdS. So we can write du is equal to TdS minus PdV. So it is this equation with which we will start the derivation for the first Maxwell's equation. So from this equation, on the right hand side, equation number 1, on the right hand side we have got two variables ds and dv. So if I keep dv or if I keep v as a constant parameter, then obviously dv will be 0. So you can write du is equal to tds, from which we will be able to write t is equal to dou u by dou s. So that actually is a partial differentiation. In the case of equation number 2, t is equal to dou u by dou s when we keep v constant. So dou u by dou s means it is a partial differentiation on u with respect to s. So if you from that is actually equation number 2, and if you differentiate dou t with respect to v, by keeping s constant, we will be able to write dou square u by dou v dou s. And during that process, actually, we have done the differentiation twice because t, in order to get t, we have differentiated u, and then we are differentiating u once more. So first time when you differentiate u, we have kept v constant, and the differentiation was done with respect to s. And second time we are again differentiating dou u again, but this time we will be differentiating with respect to v, and we will keep s constant. So that means during the complete differentiation procedure, for some steps v is kept constant, and for the remaining steps s is kept constant, and you will be getting dou t by dou v is equal to dou square u by dou v dou s. Okay. Similarly, we can from equation number 1 we can obtain minus p if we keep s constant and differentiate u with respect to v, so that you can write minus p is equal to dou u by dou v at constant s. And you differentiate once more with respect to s and keep v constant, and you will be getting minus dou square u by dou s dou v. So in that case also, for the complete derivation, for some steps we have kept s constant, and for the rest of the steps we have kept v constant. So what we have done actually is that if you examine the equation number 1, on the right hand side there are two variables. So all what we have to do is differentiate the quantity on the left side, which is u, with respect to these two variables successively. That means differentiate first with respect to s, keeping v constant, then differentiate once more with respect to v, keeping s constant. So that is the procedure that we are doing, and we are getting all these equations. So if you examine equation number 3 and 5, you can see that the right hand sides are equal except for a negative sign. So we can write down, therefore we can equate the negative sign by giving, we can equate the left hand side by adding a negative sign. So for example, you just look at equation number 3 and 5. We can write, since their right hand sides are magnitude wise they are equal, so we can write the left hand sides to be equal, but they will have a negative sign on one side. So we can write dou t by dou v at constant s equal to dou p by dou s at constant v with a negative sign. So that is the equation which I have highlighted in the rectangular box, equation number 6. That is the first Maxwell's equation. Maxwell's equation in thermodynamics. Dou t by dou v at constant s equal to minus dou p by dou s at constant v. Similarly, we will proceed to derive all the rest of the equations. I am not explaining them anymore. I'll just show you the equation with which you will have to start, and you just proceed exactly in this way, and you will be arriving at all the rest of the equations. So I will show you the second one. For the second one, we start with the enthalpy equation. dH is equal to TdS plus VdP. So what should we do? We will have to differentiate H with respect to S, keeping P constant, and again with respect to P, keeping S constant. Okay, so that is what we have to do, and the order in which we are doing it will provide you either T or V to begin with, and then dou T by dou P or dou V by dou P. So that is what we are going to get. So first, when you differentiate equation number 1 with respect to S, keeping P constant, we will be getting T, and that is given in 2. And again you differentiate that equation with respect to P, keeping S constant, and you will be getting dou square H by dou P dou S. So in order to obtain V, what we do is differentiate H with respect to P, keeping S constant, that is given in 4. Again you differentiate this quantity, equation number 4, with respect to S, keeping P constant, so that you will be getting equation number 5 and equation number 3. And the right hand sides of these equations are the same, so obviously we can equate the left hand sides. So that gives you the second Maxwell's equation, dou T by dou P at constant S equal to dou V by dou S at constant P. Now for the third equation, that is the Helmholtz function which we are considering, f, and the equation is df is equal to minus s dt minus p dv. So what should we do? Differentiate f with respect to t, keeping v constant, again with respect to v, keeping t constant. So when you do that, first you will be getting minus s, which is dou f by dou t at constant v. Again you are differentiating it with respect to v, keeping to t constant, and that is equation 3. Now you obtain p from equation 1 by differentiating f with respect to v, keeping t constant. Again this equation number 4 is differentiated with respect to t by keeping v constant, and you are getting the right hand side in equation number 5. And equation 3 and equation 5 are identical on the right side. So you can, and the left hand side, both equation 3 and 5, on the left hand side there is a negative sign. So when you equate, you can drop that negative sign, so that our equation, third equation, will be dou s by dou v at constant t, which is left hand side of 3, equal to dou p by dou t at constant v, which is left hand side in equation number 5. So that is the equation, third equation in Maxwell's relations. Now in order to get the last equation, we are considering the Gibbs function. dg is equal to minus s dt plus v dp, and we proceed exactly as so far what we have done, and we will be arriving at this equation, minus dou s by dou p at constant t equal to dou v by dou t at constant p. So that is the fourth Maxwell's thermodynamic relations. Now I have summed up all the 4 equations here. So this is an important topic. These are the 4 Maxwell's thermodynamic relations. Okay, so with that we wind up the first chapter on thermodynamics.